Talk to us about the trends that you're seeing in enterprise software and why an announcement like this in your mind is important. Like, what problems does this solve?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's best to explain it in terms of where we came from and where we're going. So 10 years ago, Mark Andreessen said software is eating the world. We created Airtable really to kind of execute against that and empower the teams closest to the work in every company to be part of that disruption, to build the apps for themselves that they needed. Now we've seen this bigger problem within enterprises where it's not enough to just have individual apps, but those apps need to be connected and to allow the entire enterprise to all share a source of truth while enabling all those individual teams to still be really, really flexible and agile. So it's kind of the next frontier of Airtable, combining what we've already done, literally in these connected apps across an enterprise.
Airtable benefited from some of those pandemic tailwinds, the shift to hybrid work. Has that kept up? What sort of workplace trends are you seeing now?
I think a lot of what we're seeing now is that there is this huge need to rethink how work is being done, right? Especially in today's economy, it's not just about throwing more people at every problem. You can't just double your headcount in every department to get more output. You need to rethink how efficiently you work. And that's where I think our enterprise vision of connected apps is really going to come into play. And it's already showing up in how we sell Airtable, how we're seeing our customers adopt Airtable. It's really about enabling more agility and more output. We talked about this customer case study during our event earlier today of Equinox actually accelerating their content production efforts by 400% with the same team and during a pandemic where they were all working from home, nonetheless, using Airtable and connected apps.
How do you see competition shaping up? There's Asana, Monday.com, others that are vying to be the project management tool of choice. What is Airtable's advantage?
Yeah, I think the whole idea behind declaring our North Star as connected apps is that we're actually elevating ourselves out of that world of project management. We actually don't really care as much about the task management, small team use cases that I think a lot of the other products are going after. And instead, we're really trying to solve this bigger problem across an entire enterprise where you need these shared sources of truth, these high value golden data sets, as we call them. For instance, Netflix having this master list of all the content titles they're producing, and then wanting to manage all of their marketing, their post-production, their legal rights management, et cetera, workflows across that data set. And so it's really, us going out and taking on more companies like ServiceNow or even Salesforce with their app cloud efforts. When we think about going and deploying apps across every other part of the enterprise, not just doing projects or tasks.
I think some people are still recovering from the shock of the big Adobe Figma deal, $20 billion. And I'm dying to hear your thoughts on it, given that Airtable is one of the few, hot enterprise software startups that's often mentioned in the same breath as Figma. What's your take on this deal?
I think Figma is an incredible product company, has a great team. They started around the same time as us. So weirdly, we've been parallel. I think we both started around 2012, both spent years building a pretty technically interesting product before launching. These were not products, Airtable nor Figma, that were built overnight as a hack project, but really a deliberate taking on of a really, really large market opportunity. I think ultimately the trend that's really benefited both of us is that for the first time on the web, when both of us started, you could build these really rich desktop grade experiences, right? Figma could not have been built. You couldn't build that level of experience in the web, nor could you build Airtable in the web. And so I think we're both right place, right time to take on really large market opportunities and disrupting some incumbents as a result.
Is getting acquired like that something that's attractive to you? Are you on the IPO path instead?
I think that the best companies have to think about how to build an independent business, right? I mean, when you look at Figma, one of the reasons why it was so attractive as a business and why it's valued so much in this deal is because actually they could go to alone. They have the leverage. I mean, it's growing very quickly. It's an amazing business. There's a massive TAM, and it's truly a disruptive and delightful product, right? And so I think if you can go out and build a company that is truly capable of being a star in a star independent business on the IPO path, then I think that also raises your attractiveness, in this case for Figma, through an M&A deal. So we've always been squarely focused on just building the best product and ultimately business and company that we can. And we're not optimizing for an acquisition.
So we've seen valuations of tech startups fall across the board. You raised at an almost $12 billion valuation at the end of last year. Does that number hold up in a downturn, or is Airtable in the rare category of startups like Figma potentially where that number potentially goes up?
So the way I've always thought about it is the short-term valuation is just, it's a point in time. And what really matters for both us as team members working on this company, for shareholders who may consider investing in Airtable, is what is the long-term expected value of this business? And especially since we're private and we don't have a public liquid value right now, what do we think this company will be worth in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? And especially as the operators within the business, what can we do to drive towards the best possible result? And so I think as we push into connected apps and this bigger and bigger possibility of solving a problem for enterprises at large, actually generating multi-million-dollar contracts repeatedly, and even driving up our already best-in-class net dollar retention, I think we feel very good about the clear path that we can get to building a really extraordinary business that's highly differentiated, has the unit economics to support a really premium multiple. And whether there's overall multiple compression in the public markets in the near term, I think the great businesses that ultimately go after really large TAMs and have durable growth potential can outgrow any of that compression because they just keep growing and growing.